How many silver CSGO players does it take to change a light bulb?
No idea.
None, because they can't climb a ladder. And with that being said, we're going to be going into our I know it's pretty cringe. I'm sorry, guys. I had to give it a go. It's late here, and I hope you can all appreciate that little bit of humor I stole straight from Reddit right before this segment. Now, with that said, we're going to be going into our last matchup of the night. And, well, it was a long road to get here this week. But ultimately, we have Rogue and OpTic, the culmination of the entirety of Week 2. Guys, talk to me about what we feel here.
We're going to see a lot of Danes in this matchup, first of all.
Yeah, for being an NA matchup, it's pretty heavily on the Danes. Obviously, a bit of a different story between the two teams. One, we're expecting to fight for survival. The other one, we're expecting to fight for a playoff spot in OpTic. And OpTic's been, above expectations, at least for me, so far coming into this season. Obviously, the kind of dismantling of Cloud9 yesterday didn't really put any stop to that. So good to see that they're kind of getting into the groove of things early on in the season. As for Rogue, bit of a different story. Haven't necessarily been able to see that many positive signs out of them over the long stretch of things. Obviously, they've picked up a few wins on the board, which is always good, but hasn't necessarily given me like a clear view as to where I should expect them to be by the end of the season.
Well, Rogue, certainly, I would have to say the most unfavorite going into this matchup. It's literally that simple. They haven't shown us anything thus far that could sort of push us in the way of giving them the edge.
No, I mean, it's a team led by a Dane, Casper Cadian, and he's trying to...
You just got to, we have to.
We have to.
Yeah,
it's every single time, huh? No, but he's leading this team, and he's over here basically because he's trying to redefine his career. He's trying to kickstart it. It didn't work too well in Europe. He's a decent player and a great player in some aspects as well. So he's over here trying to redefine his career and try to make something out of this Rogue project together with Higo. Those are two probably of the biggest stars, and now also joined by Six. So they have some names on the team that are quite convincingly and have been around for a long time, but haven't really seen anything from them. We saw them in the first week. They got 2 wins, and that was fine, but I think that was against Splice or some team they should win in anyway. So what we saw yesterday was just lackluster. It has to be better today, otherwise I don't think we even have a game on our hands. As we've seen from OpTic, they're playing World Counter-Strike, World, and it seems like they already now have found some sort of synergy together with them. So I hope Cadian has seen the matches from yesterday from OpTic and has prepared something, that maybe can throw them off guard or give Rogue a little edge in that sense, because they're lacking on all other aspects right now.
Now, you might ask, the last time I watched CSGO, OpTic Gaming had a significantly different roster. And with that, we can take a look at the current roster of OpTic Gaming as well as the side of Rogue. In case you're just joining us, Gade, Config, Shazam, Cajun B, and Stanislaw there on the OpTic Gaming side. And then, of course, over on Rogue, Vice, Katie, and GMD Sick. And Mr. Spencer Hiko Martin, a name that you probably know from a long time ago.
You just had to, huh?
What? Don't hate on me. It was his birthday yesterday. How could you be mean?
It's 2 days ago.
Whatever, man. Look, happy birthday, Hiko. I think at our age, it all kind of is relative regardless, right? It's just the birthday week is how I like to do it. But.
I think at that point, you probably don't even mind if people forget about it. It's just like, yeah, no, I'm still, 27-ish.
27. Man, that was a good year. It was last year. Anyway, looking forward into this one, we can take a look at I guess, OpTic, too. I mean, we have a lot of expectations with the lineup. Not only are there, 3 Danes over there, they seemingly have more firepower. They have more about their team, more girth, dare I say.
No, I think you're absolutely correct. Obviously, 4 of them have been established at the, international scene for quite some time, and in the likes of Config, Cajun, Shazam, and Stanislaw. As for the newcomer Gade, he's been showing promising trends so far in the couple of Pro League games we've seen him play so far, which is always a nice thing to see. And in addition to that, you can always expect the remaining players to not necessarily, vouch for him and want him on their team if he wasn't up to the task. So, that's a lot of confidence instilled in a young player with no real international experience whatsoever. But he's seemingly adapting well, and that's a really good sign. So yeah, I think you're definitely on point with just the fact that they have more going for them in every aspect of the game. They just really want closer to you.
You can't get much closer than that. And if you do, I'm not interested. So I'm sorry. Let's go ahead and take a look, though, because this tweet is really what set it off. How about this? Read us this tweet, Jacob.
Can I take down bad config? Cadian is asking the world. Trace,
well, what do you think?
No.
Well,
all right, well, that does it. Let's wrap it up and get out of here. No, but in all reality, Rogue do have their work cut out for them. There's no way to sugarcoat this. And looking at our maps tonight, it's going to be Mirage and Inferno to close it out. Of course, focusing on Mirage here at the Game Flip pre-show. Pimp, is there any edge that you can give to Rogue? Can you hope that any of these guys come alive and sort of maybe drag this OpTic lineup?
I mean, the only edge to have is the fact that OpTic played Mirage yesterday against Cloud9, so they can look at some of those tendencies OpTic had yesterday and maybe pick up a few things and try to exploit that. That said, though, we saw OpTic beat and dismantle Cloud9, which is a pretty good team on Mirage, right? So it must scare them a little bit as well. We've seen Rogue play the Mirage twice in this league. They won one and lost one, but it hasn't been looking too solid at all. So I think they have a big task on their hand, and I'm having a hard time seeing how we can give them any edge against this OpTic lineup. The problem is that player for player, they're stronger. Arguably, the only player who could be playing on OpTic in some senses may be sick in shape, right? The rest of them are just not good enough. So it's literally just like a mismatch in that sense. This is a team that OpTic, for that matter, they're playing for top 6 spots, and they're probably playing for top 4 even. You know, it's one of the best teams in this NA League. There's no doubt about it. Bringing over Config, a top 15 player in the world when he's in shape, going up against Rogue, who just got here through the MDL lane and are trying to survive basically. So it's two different attitudes and two different goals for these teams. So I expect a match that is coming after that. And we see bad Config on the screen right here. Having a hard time seeing how KDN is going to do anything about that.
Yeah.
Let's just watch this duel for a second. Oh, well, that's the end of that. All right, sounds good.
But to be fair, Config is a bit of a unique player in the sense. It's just like the kind of attitude he carries with him. Because a lot of players can be confident, but not everyone just publicly announces it in front of before every game they play.
First off, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Oh, no.
I see nothing wrong with the mentality that Config is bringing outward, bringing to light. We have too much of this sort of,
PC.
how do I say it? Everybody just kind of play it cool. We missed our shots, this and that. Config's going to tell you how he really feels. And for that, I can respect that. I can appreciate that personally. Guys?
Yeah, definitely so. It adds a bit of flavor, right, to the entire scene. And you need kind of villains as well. But some obviously are going to get really attached to Config in the way he's just wearing his heart on his sleeve, if you want to put it that way, right? And actually, get behind him because of it. And obviously, he's going to create some enemies as well because he's going to be talking trash about somebody's favorite team whenever they're going up against them. But I think it's a good thing. I think you need characters like that to actually spice things up a little bit. Because as you said, hearing the generic, we need to hit our shots and play our game, it does get a bit dull.
We are just waiting on a few of the Rogue players to join the server, actually.
Wow.
I bet they're warming up right now.
I'd imagine. That's what I'd be doing. But yes, I think you're absolutely right when it comes to he is this sort of villainous figure, but not exactly. I think more importantly than that, well, it's lighthearted, but I think that's the spirit of a competitor. Like, I mean, I don't know anybody in traditional sports who goes out and wishes everybody good luck. Like, that's just not realistic. Come on, guys, let's be realistic. Let's get rid of the GLHF at the beginning of games. Stick with the HF. Take it away, Pim.
I mean, it's all a show, and there's a balance to everything. So let's not sugarcoat it. Config is one of those types, and I agree with that. It's great to have personalities on the scene. We don't have too many, and there's way too many people out there who's just saying, yeah, we didn't hit our shots, well played to the other team. Instead of going out there and saying we played like shit today and we should have won. Yada yada yada. We can do some more of that, and that's what Config does and gives us to the scene, and especially here in NA where people maybe are a little bit better at that. In Europe, it's very very nice and very
reserved,
gentlemen and very reserved, whereas NA people are. I don't know if it's a thinking problem or is it just like a personality problem. Whatever it is, it seems a little bit more open-minded over here.
A little bit
maybe
more
enlighten us on that one. You've been the father of one of these teams, and been dealing with them. But I feel Config is fitting better inside NA minds than in European minds.
Pimp, I just want to take this time. I want you to look into that program feed right in front of you. Look at it. Yeah. Look at me when I say, don't ever do that again. Because I kid you not, Pimp, I know where you sleep. And it's the hotel next to my Airbnb. And with that said, we can move forward. I'm just kidding. It's cool. Not really.
Okay.
I think there's no way OpTic doesn't kind of run away with this one. I think Rogue, again, hasn't showed us anything. I don't even think that they showed us enough last night, materialistically speaking.
It's good to hear that you think so much, Trace.
I think a lot. You can check out my Twitter. I actually gave one of my best thoughts there tonight.
That's true.
It's a once a year tweet.
True.
So.
But I agree. You know, there's nothing that tells us Rogue is going to win this matchup at all. Let's be honest about it. They may have the edge that they warmed up a little bit more. There's a reason we're starting on time, and Rogue wanted to prepare for this game, and that's a good. After all, even though we can joke about it, it's a good mentality. They want to come in fully prepared. You know, maybe having a little team talk, maybe having the extra minutes on the deathmatch server, and trying their best. You know, as said, we use this argument a lot, and we're going to keep saying it probably the entire season. This is their Champions League. This is their Super Bowl. This is the only league that actually means anything for the Rogue guys, and probably the only thing they're actually playing worth something. So they gotta be on their best right now playing these online games, and that's why it means so much to them. So you gotta respect that, and hopefully that can build and give the little extra confidence and a little extra edge against a team like OpTic, who knows that they're favorites, you know, and knows that no matter what and no matter how it goes against Rogue today, they should be qualifying anyway.
Yeah, and I mean for Rogue to be able to potentially steal a map away from OpTic here, that's going to go a long way towards the end of the season. And we talked about what kind of I guess small edges we might see from the Rogue end going into Mirage. One of them could be overconfidence from a team like OpTic. Obviously, going into this, you have teams thinking, you know, saying like, we're not going to underestimate our opponent, but knowing the kind of positions you find yourself in compared to the opponent, it's almost a given that they are, you know, thinking or going into this game expecting to win, as they should, honestly. But you know, overconfidence can always burn you at times. Opponent times, and that might be something going in the way of Rogue. If they have Sick going off, if Vice is hitting his, you know, having the time of his life, if Kidding can get going with that off, there is small chances for them to actually do something here. But again, I think it's going to take more mistakes from OpTic's side than it's going to take heroics from Rogue than anything else.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Tell me how you really feel, though, Pimp. Because yes, we are still waiting on Rogue players to connect to the server. That is the actual storyline of the evening.
Last night as well.
Yeah. But dare I say, I think at this point we're going to have to just step away from the podium. I think that there's literally nothing else to exhaust here. Rogue are in a rough spot. OpTic seemingly have the upper hand in terms of skill and perhaps preparation. But we will find out after this break, so make sure you don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
Nice.
Yes, welcome back to ESL Pro League. We are going to be here with OpTic Gaming taking on Rogue. In the last match of the evening, or there's 2 maps here in this 2-map series. We're going to be starting on Mirage. And OpTic, I guess you would say, even as a new lineup, even as a relatively untested lineup, I guess you'd probably give them the advantage in this game from what we've seen from both squads.
Yeah, I think you definitely could. Obviously, OpTic, the new 3 Dane NA roster, and I'm very much excited to see how this team develops. We've kind of spoken about that a lot, but it still holds true. You know, it's a lot of potential here, bought over, imported from Denmark to join some of NA's finest in making this squad. You recall the last OpTic as well was a similar venture, although I feel like they've kind of stepped it up in terms of the players that they have in the team now.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, obviously a good pedigree with someone like Cajun B. Config is just one of those pickups that it's just like, holy hell, we can actually get this guy. And I just think when you add in Sanazar, when you add in Shazam, we haven't even gotten to Gade yet. But when you add those guys in, I feel like Rogue is just so incredibly outskilled. Much like, I feel like that's going to be a common trend and theme we have when we discuss Rogue throughout this season is just, you know, they're going to have to make something out of nothing. Which is going to be so difficult for them to do. Cadian, GMD, Vice, Sick, Hiko. Then you look at some of the other names. And Gade actually has been an incredible player from what I've seen on this team. I was very impressed with the first couple games out of him, and I know I'm saying his name wrong. But, you know, I can't speak the Danish language, and there's a letter in his name that just doesn't work with me.
Is there? I didn't know that. I just thought it was Gade.
I was listening to Pimp try and pronounce it earlier today, and it's one of those things that just can't happen.
Yeah, I feel that quite a lot with Danish, but you know what else? It's not looking too good for the Dane here either, as it's more than his name that's coming out wrong. His face has just been mauled as well, so he's not having a very good time of it right now. He's gone down early on, and for Rogue, man advantage taken. They're stacked up outside of B. Hiko and Vice sporting all the utility in the world for Rogue, and there are 2 players here, Cajun B and Stan. And now the push about to come through. Stanislaw does get spotted out in the open. They're going to start to push on in. Cajun B's been boosted up. Drops 1. That's the bomb. Going to try and buy time, but ooh, that second shot. How did he manage to get that? Kind of gets everything and more. Leaves it all onto Shazam. 1 versus 2. Gonna be a tricky retake here. Oh, the OpTic gets rid of them both, though. Shazam, he goes in to this one swinging. The retake does pan out. Defuse comes on in, and OpTic somehow, against all odds, some fantastic shots from Shazam and Cajun B. They lock in the pistol round.
I was going to say, that is an incredible pistol round filled with very weird shots. I mean, this from Shazam is obviously great. The follow-up onto Hiko looked like he was going to overcompensate the other direction, but it was that second kill from Cajun B on that player right outside market was astounding. I don't think there was a chance in hell he was going to be able to get one more. And Rogue, you got to feel for him in that pistol. They did everything right. Seemed like they had it locked in. I didn't think there was a chance Shazam would win that 1 versus 2, and obviously come out on the losing end of it. So tough start for them. Config tweeted out before this began. He said, we're about to play Rogue in ESL Pro League. It's going to be fun. Which, when you know Config, and I guess if you like that kind of smack talk, that's minimal smack talk when it comes to Config, but you got to be a little bit worried that he's just frag hunting, that he's feeling good and he wants to have a fun time and just feels far superior at the moment. OpTic is just suffocating Rogue. I think that might have been a small mistake out of Cadian pushing up alone at the bomb, but at the end of the day, it wouldn't have mattered too much. They didn't have a whole lot they could fight with. They're going to go for that 3rd round bye because of the plant and the pistol round. They have an advantage over the 3 SMGs, but the AWP on Shazam could catch him off guard.
Yeah, he's kind of the man with the firepower here for OpTic. He's going to be taking the AWP early on over here towards middle, and Rogue, they're not messing around with that whatsoever. Cadian is here. But the rest of the guys securing a foothold up in... Let's look at this, though. Gade and Config, they've already cleared out all of Palace. Both players going aggressively there early on, giving them a boatload of information.
One thing I noticed out of Rogue in these past few times we've seen them play is kind of a love of the 4-1 setup. Kind of stay grouped on one side of the map, have one player all by himself on the other. And they really have stuck to that like clockwork on the T side. Not always to their benefit, but it's kind of what's happening now. One player in T spawn, one player at A ramp, a couple players in those B halls, and now they're just going to relocate back towards A. They have applied no pressure across the map. And it looks like they want to fall back into some kind of a hit towards that A bomb site. Maybe a lurker in mid, maybe someone coming from underpass. Bomb still in T spawn and Gate is pushed up here. This could catch him off guard, and it is. There goes Cadian. Sick is the only one left here. It's an important trade. Config spotted one out, and there's a quick kill. And all of a sudden, this Rogue default is falling all to hell, and Config's just never going to slow down. He does not care whatsoever. A taste of what's to come, perhaps. Stanislaw just looking for information. UMP at this range, not going to be too impactful. He does spot out Hiko right as he turns the corner, gets into a new position. He's going to turn the corner, knows where Hiko's gone, and there's a kill from him, but Stanislaw buying time inside the site. Look at the clock, 10 seconds. They have to get this bomb planted. They have to find Stanislaw. He has to get on it. There's the kill, and now he's just got to stick that plant. Shazam is going to get a good angle, spamming through the smoke, not finding the kill. A chance for GMD in a 1-on-2. He had a very tough game yesterday, a very tough 2 maps, and a chance to start this one out well, and that's a good way. Headshot onto Config, and Shazam now just holding the angle, testing his nerve with the AWP. And the gun barrel's been spotted, and there it is. GMD delivering in the 3rd round.
Considering there was like 6 seconds left for that plant to come in as well, you imagine his luck has ran dry. It was that smoke that was down that allowed the bomb plant to come through. And a fantastic clutch from GMD, as you said, the man who struggled yesterday. Now, for OpTic, they went for the bonus round in the previous. They have got money to invest here, 2 UMPs or put for Shazam. There go blow for blow with Hiko over in mid. Shazam's out, but Hiko is fast to the mark. And look at this, they've got so much control over here in mid. As you said, a fan of the 4-1 setup as they send these 4 players to grab control of middle. Now they're in window, and they are just swarming over this A-bomb site. Gade has his work cut out for him.
Yeah, he's how do you say, screwed. So many different angles that he's got to be worried about, and yeah, there's no good answer in that scenario. I don't know if Hiko is quick to the mark or if Shazam was maybe slow. Either way, a great opening pick. Good nade onto Cadian to deal some damage, but it's a 3-on-5, and I think OpTic might have to make the decision to back away slowly. Stanislaw is dropped in. Still no kills coming. Cajun B finds the timing. Sick gonna get forced out, and actually a chance to build upon this. There's the M4 lured in, and all of a sudden they may want to go for it. There is a kit, there is a smoke, there's 2 smokes actually, and a Molotov, so they've got to drop one down. It's on the bomb. They have to get this defuse going, but GMD with the peek before they can get there. This round is all sealed up. 2 straight for Rogue, and I think that's all the money OpTic has in the bank.
Yeah, now they are going to be on to an eco. Money not an issue here for Rogue. They're looking fine. They've started to build up an economy as well. Going to be looking at a victory for OpTic before they even disrupt this economy. And they're going to go ahead and stack all 5 of their players over here towards this B-bomb site. If Rogue just go walking into A now, they do get it for free. And they're lining up the smokes and flashes. Just going to be the set piece in it to A. They will take that all day long.
Free bomb site for Rogue. Still using all their utility, still being cautious. Not really sure at this point what the good end goal would be for OpTic. But they have no chance of winning, and even in their current setup, I don't think they have any chance of taking an AK or stealing a rifle away, even if that were possible. Sick is going to go on the hunt. Good spot. Shazam if he were to push forward, but he's not going to, and he's got Stanislaw right around the corner. He's been spotted out. And he's going to turn it as Stanislaw runs away, but Stan spotted him at the end, takes the fight. Not a whole lot for him to do, and there's Shazam appearing in the murder hole. So it's going to be 3 rounds for Rogue, and they take a lead, which is something that we couldn't often say up until this point.
Yeah, now the party's going to come back in for OpTic. And Config kind of laid his cards on the table, as you say in the tweet. He is feeling confident heading into this one. He's top of the board right now for OpTic Gaming. And hoping that we can see him do that much more. Gade not off to the best of starts, but it's still early days, only 6 rounds in. GMD going to be the first man out into middle, and there are players coming his way. He has to be careful. Stan and Config start to creep on forward. Bombs on the back of Cadian, who is locking down the angle with the AWP. And Sick, he is going to drop out Shazam. Config, luckily enough in a position to trade, does keep it even, 4 on 4. H&B pushing this B-bomb site. Here's a couple of players retreating back. In the meantime, they've lost Vice over in Palace. Config gonna creep forward again, wants to try and find his third, and he's gonna get it. Config wasn't kidding when he said this was gonna be fun. He's looking good. 1 bullet left in the chamber, really wants to think about falling back.
I mean, listen, we all know confidence has, Config has a lot of confidence. So he's going to take every single fight that he can find. And why not after that sequence where he just obliterates everyone on a screen? Gade hasn't moved a muscle, which is unfortunate because they're not able to cheat anyone over towards the B bomb site. And this flank from Hiko can do massive amounts of damage. Cadian just needs to be patient. This utility usage is keeping all attention towards these hulls, buying time. And Hiko is going to destroy this round. He's going to obliterate it. 1 player inside the bomb site, though. Cajun B was ready for it. Hiko might have benefited from some trigger discipline, but Cadian's going to get into the site. Taps the plant and gets off of it. That's going to allow time for Gade to get into position. He's on a big flank, and Config is here as well. Planning in full view of the window is going to spell his doom. Config with 4 in the round, salvaging the AWP as well. All tied up. Still plenty of money on the rogue side there that OpTic is going to need to burn through. Config is now 10-3 in 6 rounds. Stanislaw and Gade having slow starts.
Yeah, you kind of want to see them find their footing a bit, but it doesn't matter too much when Config's having this sort of performance. It's just, can he keep it up? Rogue, they've gone ahead and said, Config, oh, he's done it again. He's opened up with 1 onto Hiko. Gade's going to drop out GMD. Now, this time they have dealt with Config, but Shazam is there to pick up the pieces. He's going to go down to Cadian, who now leaves Gade, the only man, to hold back the coming onslaught, and he will do so without a problem. 6 coming his way. Does manage to get the trade. Now 1 versus 2. Back against the wall, has to go up into Palace to get the bomb. And he will be afforded it with 1 minute and 10 seconds left. He is not short on time.
Look at what his 2 opponents have, though. UMPs on both Cajun and Stanislaw. So Sick with a huge advantage. I think that drop was able to be heard by Stanislaw, and Sick has a decision to make. Which way does he check? He checks to the left, checks to the right, but doesn't fully clear it. It was just going through the motions, and he's going to get punished. Op still salvaged and still brought into the next round for OpTic, but 3 players dying means reinvestment. And that means Rogue still has OpTic at a breaking point. But so far, so good. And yeah, I mean, that flashbang doesn't even affect Hiko over the wall, and Config's still able to win that fight. Rogue is going to have to be ready for that. 1 AWP, 1 AK-47, 2 UMPs for the T side. Some decent utility. They're going to go fast-paced, and Config caught off guard by the different heights of his opponents that he saw on a screen. Gade now, he's going to be challenged. GMD picking up the pace. That's the bomb down. Sick coming from Palace with the CZ. And Gade has more to do, and he delivers. 3 kills, individual efforts. Great kill from Hiko watching the flank. Stanislaw going to try and catch him on an awkward timing. Molotov is out into the bomb site, and Vice burning out of position, controls the spray. It's down into a 1-on-2, and Hiko almost caught off guard, unscopes with the AWP, and now with smoke in the choke point, Stanislaw has to be the hero. 1 versus 2 for him, and does not spot Hiko jumping in towards Palace. And that's going to be the shot that ends it. 4-4. And there it is. OpTic never able to build up enough money to sustain a loss.
Yeah, with some nice shots from Gade as well here. This hold over towards ramp, he has looked very crisp. There is no denying it. But, you know, he started to show up to the party. Stan's still falling a little bit quiet. Feels like Config definitely got the memo that he was confident here, but I don't know if the rest of the team did just yet. Cajun B and the gang over here in mid. Gonna try their hand at aggressions. Flashes rain on out. catch Sick off guard. GMD, it's a firing line for him and Vice. That's the B bomb site. Honed on into their sights. They're going to go and get that for free with Stan and Gade left over towards A. Rotations are few and far between. The bomb plot will come in and Rogue, you imagine they're onto a 5th round here. The 2 USPs, not expecting much from them.
Yeah, Rogue's going to get their 5th. This is a much better Mirage game than what we saw yesterday. Very good stuff out of them in the adjustment. Cadian with the AWP now. Hiko passed it over after the previous round. I think he was using it just because of a good spawn. Cade and Stanislaw hoping someone retreats towards Catwalk, just try and get an AK-47 right at the end of the round. But I think Rogue should all be evacuating through B tunnel, so that shouldn't happen whatsoever. Despite some of the individual performances out of Config, out of Gade, Rogue is looking like the better team at the moment.
Well, Buy's going to be coming on in. Flashes out into middle for Rogue. 3 players over toward that B-bomb site for OpTic early on. It looks like let's see a peek out towards short from Gade and the Cajun B. And Rogue just setting up over here towards this A-bomb site.
Smokes out, Molotovs as well. Shazam is here, no AWP for him. He actually dinks GMD through the edge of the box, so that's a pretty good start. Config with the MAC-10, why not? Yet to make his move, but at that range, can't really get involved, and GMD able to get the bomb planted with only 15 HP remaining, a 5-on-5 retake. Config the only kit on the team. They do have 3 smokes and an HE grenade, so they can find a way to have success. Smoke out towards Palace. Hiko's there, it's pretty deep, and Sick on the full rotation through mid. This retake has to come in now. No one's moving yet, no one from OpTic wants to initiate. Just now they're coming in. Smoke is down again, and good kills coming out for Shazam and Config, and Cadian, that's a critical shot to miss. Meanwhile, the flank in mid is gone. Config has to get on the bomb, and he is. 1 kill is all Cadian needs, but he's gonna back away. It's gonna be a win for OpTic, just in the nick of time. That was a very, very long retake to begin. But it does work out. They get all the kills very easily. And Rogue perhaps giving up a round without enough of a fight.
Yeah, now, well, they've got players over here towards the top of middle. Going to try and find some more success once again over here towards mid and apartments. It hasn't been too shy of success for them. Cadian keeping an eye on any aggression in through lower tunnels. Nothing going to come his way. Starting to creep forward. Over here towards Apps. Not really doing too much just yet. Trying to spot any aggressive OpTic players. Now it looks like they're finally setting up to try and take control of middle. 3 players here. Well, one smoke going to fall for the cross down at B. GMD starts to creep around into middle. Cajun B up on the cinder blocks. Who's going to spot who first? GMD's in the smoke. Just going to walking on through as the flash does facilitate the play. Config. His injuries are off. There's only 30 seconds left. This split's about to come in. 30 seconds on the clock. The bomb over at ramp. Vice there to help out. GMD's the man on the entry. And Config's going to find him through the smoke. Nothing more he can do. 20 seconds. Time ticking low. Config going to get mollied out of jungle. Now leaves the pressure onto Shazam.
Oh god, Sick wanted to push into that, and his teammates Molotov just missed. They do still need to get the bomb planted. Katie in an awkward spot. He's got to get aggressive, needs to help cover. The bomb just about now to go down, and no, Config stops it. That's the round over. Even though he does eventually fall, and Katie just as a push forward, he's going to die after the time as well. Miscalculated, and that's punishing. 6-5, and Cadian's going to get no bonus money. That's what happens. We've seen it so many times with the clock running down that low. Just one kill at the wrong moment. Enough delaying going on for OpTic as well for Rogue's utility to fade away. Investment here, 2 AKs and 3 CZs. Good amount of nades as well. Vice wants to challenge, and, well, he gets a nade to the face for his troubles.
Yeah, and if they go to mid, they're not going to have an easier time of it either. Shazam is currently honing his sights in through the window. Smoke will rain in it to force him away at least. He answers back with a nade. And they start to progress down short. Smoke not into connector though. Config and Shazam going to trade places with one another. Smoke going to facilitate the play up through the short angle. Stand up on the top, trying to do what he can. It's Cage and B to find it first. Has to try and buy that much more time. Cade is going to drop Sick from the equation, but they start to force their way into Cajun. Drops the bomb out in the open. Hiko and Cadian left, backs against the wall. Cadian going to be arriving a little bit late to the party, but Hiko gets one. It all falls onto Cadian. Shazam shuts him down, and that will be OpTic in with their 7th round.
Yeah, now they finally got some money rolling in their favor as well in surviving that one. They're going to have to rebuy, but plenty is built up nearing the end of this half. They probably don't have to worry too much about their money for the rest of these last 3 rounds. Rogue, on the other hand, have to make some tough decisions. They're going to get the pistols, no armor, a couple smokes. It looks like Vice and Cadian have those smokes towards the A-bomb site. Going to try and mimic a hit towards the A-bomb site. Actually, I take that back. They're not going to mimic a hit towards the A-bomb site. They're actually going to go for it with 3 players coming through underpass and hopefully up connector. So Cadian and Vice will have to attract attention, pull it away from mid, pull it away from connector. Config falling back. There's a Molotov out. They're going to beat it, though. Another Molotov that they're going to get by before it explodes, and that's the bomb down. Shazam holding them in place with the AWP, and everyone is getting slaughtered. M4 salvage for GMD, but he does eventually go down. Nice work by Shazam. 3 kills for him. He's at 14-8. Config at 16-8. Those two putting in some work. Stanislaus still yet to get started in this game, but it's all right. His team's up 8-5. On the T side, it's Vice at 10-9. Double op set up now for the CT side. Shazam and Cajun B. More aggression in towards Hall. Skade with the peek, gets taken out. Config up next. Good trade. Spots one more as well, and he's going to easily win that fight, just stepping back into it. Instead of protecting the bomb, he wants to go for more. Going to drop down underneath the balcony, and Hiko dispatches him with pleasure. Headshot to the face, and Shazam going for the no-scope. He's got pressure. 2 players trying to wrap upon him, and he can't flick over in time. They still have to go retrieve the bomb, which is deep in towards Palace. I don't think Hiko spotted Stanislaus. Maybe he did. Going to cause Stanislaus to reconsider his play. Leg shot onto Sick. Is going to open up the opportunity for Stanislaus to rotate through the murder hole. Tough decisions to make here for Rogue. That Molotov isn't going to work.
It's all on Hiko. Stan's going to be very fast into CT, but he's waiting for Cajun B. Just going to miss the timing on the peak there. Sindri going to force Hiko out into the open. Cajun B locks it down. Hasn't spotted him cross just yet, but now starts to suspect the timing's not there, and Cajun B wins that one out, 9-5. OpTic Gaming, they've recovered here. It was looking like Rogue were going to win this half out for a while, but OpTic starting to find their footing. Config and Shazam really stepping up for them as well, and even Stan starting now to find some ground in this round. Look at this from Config. Just so aggressive.
I mean, part of it is the benefit. I think there's a lot of players who in that kind of a fighting situation would be like, is there a window in which I can fall back safely? And that thought like never enters Config's brain. So, I mean, that helps out very much when you just know at all times 100% you're committed to the fight. Cajun's not going to hit the timing with a blind shot through the smoke. Hiko and Vice with the bomb towards the B bomb site. One of the ops is here on Shazam's hands with Stanislaw and Catwalk. Crossfire with Config and Connector. And Rogue being very patient. That's a smoke for top Connector. Would allow them to get up Catwalk. Although Config will be in front of that smoke when it plumes, so he has an opportunity to shut things down.
They're already up and through it, though. They're going to be able to find Stan, and now it falls on to Shazam. Oh, mistiming now on the AWP. Forced out of position. Players on all sides. The GMD's able to trade. Cajun B doing what he can from a window. The Molotov going to keep him at bay. Config gonna go peeking in. The flash is there, but GMD's onto a third, and he's on a tear right now. Just Cajun B and Gade left to try and pull this one and pluck it out from the depths. And a nice flick from Cajun. Damage done onto Cajun from 6. They flash themselves out. Gade wins the first duel, and now it's GMD. He has to ace it for the win in this round. Flash goes in. GMD takes the peek onto the first. Surely there's no way he gets the ace here. There's no way that he gets away with this, and he does. GMD, what a man. Locks in that 6th round for Rogue, and against overwhelming odds, he manages to get them that round back from the brink.
It's a really nice round, obviously, from GMD. All 5 kills from him and battling the whole way. Unfortunate for Config. I think he either peaked a little bit too soon, had the missed timing, got flashed by his teammates. Yeah, it started off really good for OpTic. Config was seeming like he was just so on fire. There was no way Rogue was going to be able to battle back, but they did, which is really cool to see because we've seen them fall a couple of times in this season so far without putting up too much resistance. So it's nice to see that kind of change here. Helped out by the increased performance in GMD and Vice. But still, now we switch over to the T side. Now OpTic gets to dictate the action. See what they come up with. Config obviously still having a very strong game. Same with Shazam. 9-6, OpTic is leading. They did win the pistol in the first half. Winning the pistol here would be phenomenal for them. And it's looking as well like a split towards the A bomb site, and it's a retake strategy. Only Sick is here. 4 players stacked up towards B. They wanted nothing to do with any potential B rushes. Double nade, Sick down to 17 HP, and already pressure and control of jungle and window room. So tough time for Rogue as they're going to try and have to rotate back into this round.
Yeah, this is not an easy situation to be in if you're Rogue, with so much control going the way of OpTic over here towards window. It leaves you with one option, and that is CT, and you can really see that that's what Rogue have been handed. They're trying to play the hand they've been dealt, and it's not a very good one. Stan not able to get anything done. It's Config instead to find it. He's doing damage, spreading it across Vice and GMD, and now Gade emerges from the ramp, but they're sticking the defuse. Vice is on it. They're able to get him off. KGB finds the kill necessary, and OpTic in with it. 10th round. They win out the pistol as well, so a chance to really kickstart their T half.
Yeah, big gamble for Rogue. So many players over towards the B side, and no eyes on mid, no eyes on jungle or connector or anything like that. So it's a very heavy retake strategy, and even though no one dies before that plant goes down, the double nade did damage onto Sick, and then also so much map is just given up of you know, towards the window room, towards jungle, that it's nearly impossible for Rogue to get back into it. They have to fight the entire way, rotating back to that bomb site. And now OpTic with the AKs. Mac 10 on Shazam, UMP on Stanislaw. Pretty much all convened towards the B part of the map. Hiko making noise. I'll tell them someone is Catwalk, even though he's moved away. They're going to cross right by Connector. There is a scout on Cadian. That's towards CT spawn, but that smoke is going to block off his ability to take a clean shot. It's just Hiko. He's going to be the first man up, and he was hoping someone would come for the shallow angle. Didn't happen. The deagle on GMD forced back towards bench. The rotation is here, but can it actually do anything because they're just being eliminated. Vice with a kill. It's a 2-on-3. If he can build upon this, there's something. That's a great response with this easy, but no time to reload, and only 2 bullets. Now, just as he decides to, Stanislaw dispatches him. And the bomb will be planted. We're no, Cajun was waiting for that exact peak. Now it's going to go down. And Sick needs to take this one-on-one, and he does win it. But again, only one bullet, reloading. He's found time. Cajun B out in the open. Wins it with the AK-47. Scary times for OpTic.
Yeah, no, those totally not broken pistols, almost clawing that round back for Rogue. But not quite. OpTic managed to emerge victorious. An 11th round now for them. And Mac Daddy Config looking to try and make some stacks as he moves into this round. Gonna be taking that Mac 10 over there towards B. Probably gonna wrap in through lower tunnels, look to try and use that up close. Down here in mid, Cadian, well, he is about to have a very aggressive man come his way. Luckily enough, gets out of there just in time. 5v5 in this retake of the A bomb site. Cadian, they might be able to do some damage. Does Config anticipate there being a person here? That doesn't really matter because over in mid, Config's going to move on in and farm up some frags. Finishes off Cadian as well. 3 kills for him as he locks that one in style. And he also makes $1,500 while doing it.
Yeah, he's rich. They're all rich. And no reason to not take a bonus round if you're OpTic Gaming. See what happens. Not a lot of utility for Rogue. Only 3 smokes and 2 flashbangs. No kits as well. And a couple players missing head armor. So you can find some advantages into this round. Molotov in towards Connector. Here's Config with his MAC-10. Blinded up, slowed down, but still utility being spent. Config gonna go right through this smoke and right up Connector. There's one behind him. He doesn't realize it. Cheeky play from Vice, and now here comes the B-rush. Gade gonna jump out. He's completely blinded. GMD hasn't been involved yet. There's the kill. Stanislaw does trade it, but Hiko's still alive inside the bomb site. It's now a 2-on-4. They need kills at the very least, and Cajun cannot get comfortable. Jam's gonna go down, and yeah, that attack does absolutely nothing. No dent into the economy of Rogue. With 4 players surviving, they can build up. Now they have the nades. This becomes more difficult for OpTic. It's almost as if that bonus round backfires in a way.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, now Rogue are sitting fairly pretty with this one. They have money on everyone apart from Sick. OpTic, they've bought down. Shazam's got the AWP, but Cadian has the timing out its middle, and there's a big gap in that smoke. They're going to flash themselves through. Ice is caught out in the middle of mid. Shazam's going to drop Cadian as well. This has been a bit of a disaster early on for Rogue. Hiko's on short. GMD's there to help him out, and Sick lies and waiting connected. They've got all their forces dedicated to trying to pull back control of middle, and they will. The resurgence comes through. The reinforcements have arrived, and just like that, we're back into a 3-on-3.
Sick is going to keep mid control, and indeed it looks like he's going through underpass. Meanwhile, GMD playing towards CT spawn doesn't actually want to take fights, just wants to know what's coming, wants to be able to buy time for his teammates, and now as he works his way into the open, he's got to be careful. They know exactly where he is. The trajectory of that nade betrays his positioning. Config expecting that response from Hiko after the shots are fired. They've got to get this bomb planted. One more smoke on Config for CT spawn if they want it, and all the meanwhile the flank is coming in. Shazam is on that though. He's going to go check for it, misses the shot, and he goes down. It's Config and Gade, the 2 Danes. Here's Gade, precision as he finds Sick. Flash out into the air. Config surely going to peek with that, see if he can find anything, but not yet. Biding his time, waiting in the sight. Staying out of the line of vision for Hiko, and there's the peek and distracts GMD. Goes back. Gade and Config finding both of the 2 remaining Rogue players, and they make it look easy. 13-7. That's a reset under Rogue. They might still buy, though. They have a decent amount of money to scrounge together something.
Telling you, Jason, Danes for Danes. That's what it takes sometimes. It was Gade and Config to lock that round in, and both of them have been looking very good. There's no denying that fact. Gade's the first man in, and Rogue, they've got no money. They're going to go aggressive up into Palace. They even counted the real prince, and his name is Stan. He's gone ahead and locked them both down. So just like that, bomb plant going to come on through for OpTic. They look to get onto a 14th round. 2 players in CT look to try and make things tricky, but instead they offer themselves up to the one and only Gade. 14-7 now. The buy comes in for Rogue, but it's well, it's alright, but it's not perfect. 6 a little bit limited. Other than that, everyone else should be able to get pretty much everything they need.
Question becomes, does Caden go for the op? And just as I ask it, he answers with a yes. Smoke and flash behind it. At least this time, they've got some extra utility to utilize. Got a kit as well on device. Cajun gonna straight up challenge, and Vice almost pays for it with his life. Goes for a spot of information, a shoulder peek, if you will, in window. It almost stayed exposed for too long, and how aggressive does Config want to be? I think Hiko might have spotted him with that jump. But Config is not going to slow down. It's all down to timing and positioning over in those B holes. Oh, this is so dirty. Hiko's gone down. Config not going to be aware. The second player backs right into Vice. This positioning from Sick Gate is going to be patient. As Cajun finds one. Oh, this is awkward. Now Gate's going to respond. Easy kill. Bomb is down towards T-spawn, though. So despite the fact that OpTic have taken over the site, they do give an opportunity for Rogue to get back into things with all the extra time being used. Thankfully, as Stanislaw is going to note, nobody going for the flank. So OpTic on the verge of getting to 15 once this bomb goes down. Rogue at the moment not getting too aggressive with the retake. Cajun just barely missing vision of Ice, but I think he was spotted out, so it's all down to timing. Now he's going to drop out, and now Cajun knows exactly what's coming.
Smoke going to go down. It forces Cajun B back. Into CT spawn he goes. That leaves the pressure on Stan and Gade, and they've already pushed up into the site. Gade going to be holding close. Spots GMD, and the second onto Vice will come through. 3 massive kills, the hat-trick for Gade. And a map point here for OpTic Gaming. 15-7. No money left on Rogue. It will be the force buy down here and now. They have to try and make their stand if they want to try for the comeback. It's a very long way to go. Config's going to be bringing out the Krieg as well.
Yeah, why not? He's been watching everyone else use it at events, so maybe his turn to show what he can do with it. His former teammate Magisk, big fan of that weapon, and he's had Vice again. Guy's got a Death Wish. Not a Death Witch. Well, some tag with the Krieg. Hiko down to 71. Cajun being patient with his AWP out towards connector, peering over the top of the smoke. A lot of pressure being applied towards that B-bomb site. Push from Vice. He eventually does get punished. And if Cadian keeps pushing forward, eventually he's going to notice the bomb and T-spawn once again. OpTic leaving that very far away.
Look at this flank from Gade. He's all the way through. Just going to clear out CT. Now, this could lead to some false information because Cadian's aggressive down through ramp. But you imagine Config is going to check this. He already looks weary. Scoped on in, pushing forward. Cadian holds the close angle, and Cadian will go down. Now waiting for his teammates to clear out ramp before he moves in with the bomb. One player here in CT going to be Sick. He was able to step up to the mark and find it first. Stan is there to trade. And now Hiko falls as well. That's going to be the round going the way, the map going the way of OpTic rather. They win this one out quick, and they make it look pretty easy on that T side. A fantastic performance from Config in particular. So many of these highlight clips going to be coming from him as he lives up to the hype he generated on Twitter just before.
Yeah, great performance from him. Great performance from all of OpTic. There was a small fight put out by Rogue, but they couldn't sustain it through the whole thing. We'll see if they have anything left in them for map 2. When we come back, it's going to be the analysts, and then we'll get on to the last map of this second week.